AgGrid will say, okay, the user is looking at rows 100 to 200, say, and they've got this filter applied and they're sorting it by this column. So then that data object gets sent to your, I guess, your backend, which then is responsible for taking all that information on board and then sending the correct results back.
Stephen, I'm a little overwhelmed by the new requirements coming in, and until now, I've been able to tell my customers, which are the product managers here, why don't you have a look at what AgGrid can do? I can vouch for it that it can handle these cases here and there. They have plenty of examples on the website. So if they say, well, look, we're going to have all these inserts. Okay, well, just go and look at the client-side rule model and see if you want to use the transaction. And I've been getting by until now. Requirements are getting so heavy now that I need to think about server side. Up until now, I've been able to get away with client side, and I can't wrap my head around what do I do on the server side? I mean, I know I can pass in my data source is the server, but I don't get what does that look like on the server side? I mean, how does that data get processed over there without me doing something?
Well, that's the thing. You then have to do work on the server.
Okay.
So in server-side mode, there's then a contract, I guess, set up between AgGrid and either your backend or I guess a service in your front end, which then services the request. So AgGrid will say, okay, the user is looking at rows 100 to 200, say, and they've got this filter applied and they're sorting it by this column. So then that data object gets sent to your, I guess, your backend, which then is responsible for taking all that information on board and then sending the correct results back.
Okay, so it's a REST request. I mean, I guess there's options, but like I could do it with a REST request, and I'm sending this object only instead of like the normal table column fetch request, and then the server is gonna respond back.
I think if you wanted to use AgGrid, or I mean GraphQL, I think Pavel is using GraphQL with AgGrid too. It might be faster.
Yeah. So maybe in our next study group, I have a GraphQL AgGrid playground that I set up locally, and I had a question, and I know Pavel can solve it in a second. So we'll get there. Follow-up question. Another goofy request that's going to come is what they call formula columns. In Excel, you can take another column and you can use its value. Usually it's in the same row. I don't want to like do this and make you get, but like, is that pretty straightforward? Maybe Cell Renderer can handle.
So it's not something out the box yet. We've got a ticket in our backlog to do this, to support this kind of feature where, the user can define, some kind of formula and create a new column and display that. But yeah, it's something you could do manually.
Yeah. Okay.
I did that, Greg, with Cell Renderer before. But I
like index, like cell index -1 and get the neighbor and get the value.
Yeah, with the custom Cell Renderer and string operator, the tree of operators, when I just replace the values by the names and indexes.
Got it. Okay, I'll play with it.